this gold rally a mega bull market. It is the single best prepared gold market in almost 40 years of me being in and around the financial arena. And what I mean there is a lot of things have come together to give me great confidence that this is a market that's going to go substantially higher over time. You can start with perhaps the single biggest ingredient in the last several months, and that's central bank buying. Record buying of gold. They're not buying it to speculate in it. They're not buying it to trade it. They're buying it for a particular reason that they foresee coming. Some monetary / political, whatever it may be. We can talk about a possible new type of currency that might have gold backing, whatever it is, to step up. And even if it is just one or two, but we're learning it's more central banks. Even if it is, the fact that they're doing that, that's extremely bullish. Second, and this is not often spoken about, and excuse me if you have, but for a lot of years, in fact, I just made a post I'm back on Twitter now that the Musk is running it. And I said, I always called the COMEX the Crimex, because for a lot of years, we endured heavy shorting in the paper gold market. Some saying there's no such thing as manipulation, but since there's now been people convicted of it, we know there was. But the good news is a lot of the paper trading, which used to be heavily in London and New York, has shifted to the Far East. And they're interested in gold for a lot of better reasons than the people who are on the COMEX and all. So one of the things we've witnessed is even when we have these quick downdrafts that always happen when the COMEX is open, we see it come back right away, where it used to take weeks or months to come back several years ago. Those two things, and there's more, those two things alone set up the gold market to be in a much better form. The physical market, which obviously I know you're involved with, is now not being as hampered as much by years ago central bank selling, and for a whole lot of years, this cartel or whatever you want to call it, and even if they weren't formally together, people taking advantage of the short side of the paper market. So I think that in alone, plus some other reasons, is reasons to believe that gold will go not only to a nominal high, but adjusted for inflation, which would be around 23 or 2,400. That's the absolute minimum that I think could be. And then if certain things happen, geopolitical and what have you, we could be talking higher.
So a couple things you mentioned there, I'd like to dive into both of those more detail. First, with respect to the manipulation that a lot of people have argued has been going on, specifically, largely what's been argued is suppression of the price. Are you saying that is changing now?
Yeah, the spoofing and all has dramatically dried up because people were actually caught and convicted. Now there's a potential penalty before someone thinks about doing it. It was kind of like a free ride for a lot of years. And I'm talking going back to the 80s, this was going on. And there was always one or two people out there that were saying there's no such thing as manipulation. You guys are wearing tinfoil hats and all this other stuff we were accused of. But it proved to be correct. So the inability or fear has lessened that, and it's allowed the real trueness of what's happening in gold, which is based in the physical market, to take more of control of the actual gold price, which right now we see in a lot of people reporting from different parts of the world, really strong physical. We just saw in Germany record demand by investors for gold, something that 20 years ago, 30 years ago didn't happen. So that's the part in regards to manipulation.
Now, when it comes to spoofing, my understanding of spoofing is it can be up or down, so it doesn't necessarily indicate suppression per se. What is your perspective on that? Because I know the convictions or the settlements of cases have been just spoofing. It hasn't dealt with whether prices were manipulated up or down.
But they were spoofing most of the downside. They were not putting out large buy orders. They were putting out large sell orders. I never saw, it might have happened once or twice, but it was always these 6 o'clock in the evening, somebody decides to sell $1 billion worth of gold. First of all, if you have $1 billion to go, you want to get the best price. That's not the time to be a seller. So the very fact that they put it out there suggested highly that there was a manipulation in it all. So that's what I mean when I talk about the spoofing. It was mostly to the downside.